Ottawa Gales are celebrating like crazy, and I know they played hard for 2 days. They have kept at it for years. It's a small group. Kerry's in there, and they've just kept going and going, and they're being rewarded right at the end. How appropriate is that?
It's the nation's capital. What can I say? It's the nation's capital, and our nation came together for these Gaelic games in Ottawa, seeing it out. I think it's a good nod to our country's capital, and I thank those in the Ottawa GAA because they're well deserving and they've worked hard.
We're immensely proud of all of our clubs, but particularly proud of all of our travelling clubs because, as I said before to some other people there's a lot of things that are happening here with travelling 6 hours from Montreal, let's say, and travelling like 6 and 7 hours from Vancouver to be here. So very proud of all the clubs that participated.
As Ulster Secretary, it must be a proud day because Ulster has put so much in. Your twin with Canada, of course. So how gratifying is it now to see Canada really come of age with its own national championships?
Oh, it's great. We've seen the USA championships, we've seen the Australian championships, the European. It's great now that Canada can be in that world stage and be part of they are part of the World GAA family, but to be now part of that club that can host their own championships. And it's quite difficult for a country like Canada, given its vastness. Like from Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, in the east to British Columbia in the west, But it's great, and it's great, to have teams from so many places, from Vancouver, Calgary, Ottawa, Quebec, Toronto, all over the place, so Ottawa. So, it's great. And of course, Montreal picked up a trophy there that won the men's junior. So it's good to see the trophies going about.
What's your report going to be then to Larry, the president, from this weekend?
Well, look, it's been a fantastic weekend of Gaelic games, and I won't pick out any one of them in particular. Ladies football, Camogie, hurling and football. It's just been a wonderful, entertaining weekend. And I can certainly say that the Gaelic games in Canada is very, very, very strong, very strong.
From a ladies football point of view, is this Canadian National Championships, the very first ever, is it the way forward? Is it going to be good for ladies football out here?
It's great for ladies football, and I think it is the way to go. A lot of these teams would have gone to North America to play the games but never had their own championships. And the game has grown, the number of clubs have grown, and the importance of them all coming together for their own weekend I think is so important for the growth and the development of the game in Canada, and also to see the standards that are there at the different levels. And it's wonderful to see that they can have junior, they can have senior, there'll be intermediate and all that, and it's definitely the way to go. And it's the inaugural year. It's up to the clubs now to buy into this and to build on this, and I believe it can only get bigger and stronger, and which will help develop the game further.
Does it justify a Canadian Championships from a Camogie point of view when you see a game like that?
I think it does. I think you've got to grow the game. I mean, if you watch that game, why wouldn't there be Canadian Championships? You'll see later in the day there'll be junior championships, and we've seen them all weekend. We've seen Montreal, which is a completely Canadian team. We've seen Ottawa, Quebec. All of these teams, they're playing their hearts out. And to be fair to them, they're only ever going to get better when they have games, because it's about game time. I would hope maybe as the Canadian Championships expand a bit like the North Americans, that maybe we'll start getting teams in from New York, from Chicago, San Francisco, Boston. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Invitationals up to the Canadian Championships. And it's about getting the momentum behind them, and then, the joy that those girls to lift the very first Canadian Championship. I mean, that you just couldn't write that in a storybook for them. Some of these girls and the lads here, they've been working so hard towards this, to have their name on the very first cup. 30 years time they'll remember they were the original champions.
Our clubs now know what it's like to call themselves champions of the various codes and the various grades, and to me that's what it's about. They're Canadian champions in junior and senior hurling, football and camogie.
And that's important, that title of Canada champions?
Yeah, up to run from Ulster, Ciaran McLaughlin said over there, our junior champions are as important as our senior champions, and yeah, that is the important thing. Champions of Canada, because Canada has had 3 divisions for years and years, divisional champions, and it's all great. Now we have our own county champions.
We take our twinning opportunities seriously. We want to make sure we give provide the best opportunities to the associations. We're twinned with Canada and with Britain, but even over this weekend, we've been able to provide a couple of referees and support them outside of that. Ultimately, Canada has flourished, and we'd like to think that some of that has been because of the support we have given them. So long may it last, and hopefully they will continue to flourish, and we'll do our best to support them. Just finally, an Argentinian once told me that winning was for his previous generations. He said it's a gift to our forefathers. Is this similar today here?
For sure. I mean, like, I made sure I touched base with all the old timers here. I wanted to speak to them all and talk about what I remember, what they brought to the game. They're seeing what today's generation is bringing to the game. And so really it was a gift. It was a tribute. And it is an opportunity to celebrate our Gaelic games in our country.